And Home Depot, who rely heavily on these U.S. ports, are working to mitigate delays as shipping operations return to normal. The National Retail Federation welcomed the end of the strike, emphasizing its impact on supply chains and the broader economy. This tentative agreement is likely to boost Kamala Harris's campaign ahead of the U.S. elections, as our guest also mentioned, and the strike could have hampered Harris's pro-labor stance. East Coast ports are critical for a wide range of imports, including coffee and auto parts, and prices have already risen in some sectors due to the disruptions. While the wage agreement is in place, ongoing negotiations over automation at the ports, a key issue for dock workers, are expected to continue.
No contract, no work. No contract, no work. No contract, no work.
From the administration of Donald Trump to the White House of Joe Biden, the United States policy on China has been mostly consistent. Both presidents have viewed China as America's biggest competitor, but in the race for the next president, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump have slightly different approaches towards the global superpower. VOA's Elizabeth Lee explains how.
These two presidential candidates clash on several topics, but Democratic and Republican nominees Kamala Harris and Donald Trump agree on one issue: the threat of China. Robert O'Brien served as National Security Advisor during the Trump administration.
I think that the threat that we face from China is far more serious than we faced against the Soviet Union in the Cold War.
O'Brien says the U.S. should deal with China through a show of strength.
It's not just military strength. It's economic strength, it's diplomatic strength, it's soft power and cultural strength. That is what scares our adversaries.
On economics, both the Trump and Biden administrations have used tariffs to counter what they describe as China dumping cheap products abroad, making competition tough for U.S. businesses.
China is going to take over all of your business because of the electric car and because they have the material we don't.
Trump is proposing tariffs of up to 60% on Chinese imports. Harris has also acknowledged U.S.-China competition.
I will make sure that we lead the world into the future on space and artificial intelligence, that America, not China, wins the competition.
She has supported some of the restrictions on trade that the Biden administration has supported as well, but she is certainly not a big tariff person.
Analysts say Trump is more transactional.
Probably my first call, I'm going to call up President Xi. I'm going to say you have to honor the deal you made. We made a deal. You'd buy $50 billion worth of American farm product, and I guarantee you he will buy it.
In the area of foreign policy, O'Brien says it's important to build alliances with like-minded countries.
There was a time when America could shoulder the burden alone. We can't do it anymore alone.
One expert says Trump has broken away from the traditional Republican foreign policy of establishing strong alliances.
Trump is just viscerally not much into alliances and much more into what's in it for us.
With election rhetoric ramping up over Chinese competition and security threats, some Americans fear the real losers may be Asian Americans and Chinese people living in the U.S., says Stephen Pei, who immigrated to the U.S. from Taiwan and works as a university professor.
They consider U.S. is facing a threat, the whole of society's threat from China. Then it takes the whole society's threat response to deal with the threat from the faculty, students, researchers from China. I will be labeled because people cannot tell me, am I from Taiwan or from China or from Korean?
They're coming in from China.
With Trump's tough talk, some Asian Americans worry about increased anti-Chinese sentiment if he is elected. But Asian American Republicans say they hope Trump, being a businessman, can make a deal with China that will benefit everyone in America. Elizabeth Lee, VOA News, Washington.
We are shifting focus to another big story coming in from Pakistan. The country is witnessing another wave of protests by jailed ex-Prime Minister Imran Khan's party. The PTI is carrying out demonstrations in Islamabad today, and the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is taking to the streets for 2 days. This to demand the release of party founder Imran Khan and also protest against a slew of issues, including judiciary's independence. Party leaders and supporters have been met with security and layers of barricading in the city. Security forces were also seen using tear gas to disperse the demonstrators. And the latest, Imran Khan's sister, Alima Khan, has been arrested from D Chowk, which is the ground zero of the protests.
Ms. Khan, what do you have to say on today's arrest? The police have now started firing tear gas shells at what you see behind me. Those white clouds, those thick white clouds are essentially that of the tear gas that is being fired. We'll just walk across and try to get close to the police. They're trying to make sure that the protesters don't get onto this side of the D Chowk. They're currently at the Jinnah Avenue, about 100 or so meters away from where we are, and the police are trying their level best to make sure. What you see behind me, those are essentially the PTI protesters. What you see there behind those thick smoke clouds are PTI protesters who are there. And who are there in numbers, who are there in greater numbers, and there's only one agenda, one point for the police right now that's there, that is to prevent those protesters from getting here at the D Chowk itself. Anas Malik in Islamabad, Pakistan for WION World is One.
Ahead of the protest, Pakistan's government and other opposition parties urged the PTI to delay their protest by 2 weeks on account of foreign dignitaries in the capital. However, in anticipation of some demonstrations proceeding ahead, authorities have also deployed 6,000 police and paramilitary personnel. They've also placed over 300 containers at the entry and exit points of the capital to deter protesters. PTI chief Imran Khan was reportedly relayed a message through a senior leader to postpone the protest. However, the PTI founder responded that his party would put off the demo if the government agreed to postpone the constitutional amendments till October 25th.
अच्छा सुने आप मैंने आपसे
And to get us the latest, our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik is joining us live from Ground Zero, that is D Chowk. Anas, what is the latest you can tell us?
Well, the latest is, Ananya, that we've been seeing that PTI protesters have been trying to reach D Chowk, where I am. Behind me, what you see is the police deployment. Next to me on the left side is the main D Chowk, and this is the Jinnah Avenue that's right behind me where I'm standing. This is where the PTI protesters have been trying to get to sporadically in smaller numbers, and time and again we see that the police pushes them back. There's been a lot of shelling that has been done in the entire day, but this is not it, because there's a caravan that is currently on way. It's been over 6 hours since it's been en route from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa towards here in Islamabad. They're currently about 35 kilometers, but they too are facing resistance. Earlier today, the Inspector General of the Islamabad Police, he spoke and he said that there will not be any negotiations, but rather action, a depiction of which we've seen today throughout the day. It is pertinent to mention that Alima Khan and Uzma Khan, both of Imran Khan's sisters, they have been arrested by the Islamabad police from here at D Chowk. Also, that the military has been called into the country, into Islamabad particularly for its security, though the government has sought the pretext of the upcoming SCO heads of governments meeting, but it is being speculated that with these protests spiraling out of government's hand, that is why they are trying to call in the military so that the protesters can be dealt with an iron fist. Ananya?
All right, Anas, thank you so much for all those updates from Islamabad.
Thank you.
Let's focus now. Sri Lanka's newly elected president, Anurakkumar Dissanayaka, met with International Monetary Fund representatives in Colombo to discuss the country's ongoing $2.9 billion bailout package. Following a sovereign default in April of 2022, Sri Lanka faced a severe financial crisis leading to crippling shortages of essential goods like food, fuel and medicine. While the 2023 bailout helped stabilize the economy, it came with stringent austerity measures that have left millions struggling to make ends meet. Dissanayaka's administration aims to maintain the 4-year program while seeking alternative approaches to ease the burden on citizens. During his first meeting with the IMF, Dissanayaka emphasized his commitment to reducing taxes for lower-income groups and reversing recent tax hikes. He also expressed the desire to raise public servant salaries and renegotiate the controversial terms set by his predecessor. The IMF delegation acknowledged Dissanayaka's proposal and agreed to explore these alternatives. However, experts warn that significant changes to the bailout's core components, such as the ban on printing money and established revenue targets, are unlikely. In addition to seeking revisions to the IMF bailout, Dissanayaka plans to restructure $12.5 billion in international sovereign bonds, which will then require parliamentary approval. With fresh elections called for November 14th, the new government will need to navigate complex negotiations with bondholders and the IMF. The Parliament's first session is scheduled for November 21st, and analysts suggest that while Dissanayaka has gained popularity by promising to address the island's political corruption, his administration may have limited flexibility in reshaping the terms of the existing IMF deal. Now, correspondent Dasuniya Thaura has more on this from Colombo.
While agreeing to stay with the current IMF policy, President Dissanayaka has also stressed on the need for a revamp in terms of tax and VAT policies. This is also something that President Dissanayaka, during the run-up to his presidential election campaign, has voiced quite sternly and strongly for, voicing that he needs a change when it comes to these tax policies here in Sri Lanka. The feasibility and the viability of getting this done is now a major concern for many of these voters who will be heading to the polls once again in little over a month to elect Sri Lanka's next parliament. Stay with WION as we bring you the very latest. Reporting from Colombo, I'm Dasuniya Thaura.
We're now shifting focus to neighbouring India. In the northern state of Haryana, that is set for assembly elections, voting will be held on Saturday. In this multi-party contest, polling is scheduled to begin at 7 a.m. and will close at 6 p.m. local time. Over 20 million people are eligible to exercise their franchise for 90 assembly constituencies in the state. According to election officials, more than 20,600 polling booths have been set up across constituencies. Voters casting their ballot have a long list of choices. There are 1,031 candidates in the fray, out of which 930 are men and 101 are women. Votes will be counted on October 8th, and the election is crucial for all parties. The ruling BJP is pulling out all stops to stay in power for a third term. On the other hand, the opposition Congress party is eyeing a return to power after 10 years. Meanwhile, the Aam Aadmi Party is looking to solidify its presence and see some of its power spill over into the state that shares borders with the national capital. All right, moving on now. International observers and election watchdogs have been barred from overseeing the polling process in Tunisia amid the rising criticism against ruling President Kais Saied for stifling rights of people and political rivals. There are still some voices that support the incumbent. Listen in to what Tunisians and election observers have to say about the election that's slated for this Sunday.
Today we live in a climate of total rejection of any outside body with autonomy or a critical vision to observe and follow this election. Unfortunately, even the Constitutional Electoral Commission has become a tool to perpetuate the unilateralist vision of the President of the Republic. Numerous independent civil organizations, recognized for their autonomy, integrity, professionalism, and ability to monitor elections in Tunisia or abroad, even on numerous occasions, have been sidelined for often spurious reasons, citing foreign funding.
We asked to be allowed to monitor the elections, a procedure we used to do. But the Commission rejected our request, accusing us of lacking impartiality. To this day, we don't understand what they mean by lack of impartiality. We have tried to contact the electoral body on several occasions, precisely by sending 3 letters to ask for clarification or justification of what is meant by the expression non-impartiality and how they, as an independent electoral body, assess our impartiality.
I want to tell the youth, leave through the sea.
There is nothing that keeps us here in Tunisia. Even if I find an opportunity, I'll go despite owning a truck. I have no future here.
I think it would be a mistake to elect someone new because they won't be like the current president. Kais Saied knows the situation well after 5 years in power, and there's no need for someone new who doesn't understand what's happening. He should be given an additional chance to fix the problems.
And with that, we are wrapping up this edition of Race to Power. I'm Ananya Datta. Thanks for watching with me. I'll be back soon.
The stress of our world can take a toll on our physical and emotional health. Here, in New York's Catskill Mountains, lies a luxurious place of healing called WION Wellness Center. The WION Wellness Center provides 500,000 square feet of natural methods to manage diabetes, hypertension, chronic pain, obesity, depression, anxiety, and other conditions. We use the traditions of centuries-old natural science from India, yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy in personalized programs that help you take charge of your own health. A minimum 5-day stay is recommended for best results. Book now at yo1.com.
Let's give the people what they want.
Joker Folie à Deux hits screens, we tell you everything about the much anticipated release. Meet Indian filmmaker Amit Sharma as he talks about Maidan, movies and Oscars. And remember the Harry Potter professors who've left behind an everlasting legacy. All this and much more with me, Isha Hanspal, at these times only on WION E Club.
Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays, 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
This week on Tech It Out,